Hello again.
This trash container is locked. Maybe you're prioritizing it. Did someone say pry bar?
We could try using a pry bar, the one you took from my motor carriage, or...
Pry bar, pry bar. Your palms yearn its cold touch.
Or we could ask for a key from...
Ask the manager? Bullshit. Go straight for the pry bar and pry this baby wide open.
Thank you.
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out.
I thought as much.
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company.
Yes.
Sir, I'm sorry the RCM is having... What do you need them?
It concerns the case.
Just bring them back once you're done.
The door is closed. There is no one. You hear the shower being turned. A tremendous loneliness comes over you. Everybody in the world is doing. The door is closed. This door can only be...
Yes?
There they both are. Two identical shoes. Both copiously green. It's pretty clear, ain't good. They're balanced. Comfy. Feels... This trash container with a well-oiled crack. Don't. Maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't. Of course you should. This is your time to shine, Hobocop. Just a feeling. A warning. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows. No, search. Good practice for... A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta. You see milk. You've done this before. No, good practice. A box falls into pieces among the threadbare kitchen towels as the legs of the slime.
The victim's clothes? Cadaver inodors. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar marked blue jeans. Pockets empty. The belt is missing.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt.
This is a military type overgarment. No label.
The rest of the rags are just
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the... Not really. All we know...
The fuck's he on about?
See?
The lieutenant nods. It's just organic waste. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and...
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look. The plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? What are you talking about? I don't know either. You should take stock of your notes. Make sure it's all there. Official note, it would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case.
Wow, an Armistice caliber 50 knock. It's a giant rifle, and it's very expensive. And is that Cordon Electric's preamp with Electra? That's too bad, because none of those things are actually in there. All you see is a broken mug with a racist depiction of the Yellow Man.
Interesting. Reminds me of the mug collection we saw in our Weasel's apartment. Or it may just be a coincidence. Either...
The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think...
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers, because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism. They represent a society because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything to your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. No advertisements, you notice. So who's funding? After rifling the pages, the magazine is divided into several sections. International developments. You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most.
I'm no property law.
An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the pattern still kind of has an F for you to discover. Gone. It's just a racist mug. What's the... Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say? If you want to earn some change by guilting people, go for it. But if you want to earn real dough... The face of King Friesel. It's just a racist mug, but it will not happen. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white. There's a piece of toilet paper. Or is it? It's a metaphor for you. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to... An aluminium block runs the width of the board. Biting down, the surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility.
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding... It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting
Your kill count. Yours will surely have your...
Any capable light with the right wavelength. All RCM vehicles have had lights.
This means you can read the watermarks if you...
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sat... They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches. But once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter." These are handwritten. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of... Judging by the creases on your forehead and the lines on your cheeks, too much more. Yes, it appears you employ a... Yes, all caps. One is called the Next World Mural. Another, the Square. Others appear more light-hearted. The guy's on a couch in an You like this grimy. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, it's a holdover from the early days of the RCM. Right after... Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one... The man with the... I pray his loved ones. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages. The ledger only comes with an old... The lieutenant looks at his blue note. He is not really saying anything. Absolutely motionless at first, then animated onto the paper with a brash free hand, uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple. A language developed for mental rigor. And inspect the get the bod, interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slap. And a fuck you to you too. That last one cuts a slash right through the paper. Things to be done and things already done.
No, actually. Any ideas? Furies. Yes, well, I don't know. Could you make it less poetic somehow? Just a normal case name, you know? Okay. It's a good name, but it has something more concrete, perhaps? Do you have some... Yes. I have to tell you, officer, I don't appreciate ironic titles. Other officers, they're not going to get it. They're going to think an idiot and a cockfinger were on this case. So, do you have something? Oh, well, then maybe I can suggest one. Oh, that's actually what I was. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smell. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse, handwritten logs on dozens. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. It's proving to be harder than expected. An aluminium block runs the width of the board. A bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date, all in a print so small it could be considered downright. A dozen pages of color of the irises, predation marks, condition. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must... It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. Something rattles inside, and something small inside. The plastic shimmers like lapis. There's pain in there, if you want some. With your hands, you 4-sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the top of the board. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned. The slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance or sound, 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The aquarium costs extra. These let you go there too. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says, Tutti Frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters, in a woman's hand. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I want it. Throw it away, please. A merciful wind blows in from the Bay of River.
Let's go.
Your hands shake, holding onto it. Every morning when I step out, you're asleep behind me. It says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
Detective, is everything all right?
There is nothing, again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below you. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was...
He speaks of the sickening longing.
The call, when you...
Here in the paleo-mammalian, because it's always there.
Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so.
Yeah, man. Fuck everything. Total blackout forever. Bloated corpse of the past resurfaced. Don't prod at it. It was stuck. There is no Voyager road. There are no roads. No. Your name?
It certainly is. Your name is passed out on the ground, dragged around by...
You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No.
Yes, they're pouring something on you.
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil.
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone?
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat.
What happened? That does sometimes happen. You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out.
All right. Ready?
The dashboard lights up with orange, like a leopard, wakens that sound. You feel the wind in your hair as if you're already driving down a narrow street lined with shabby wooden houses, the Valley of Dogs, and before it, a familiar dome. This is Precinct 41, as close as you have to home now. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just...
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hot...
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of you catch a faint glimmer from a broken beer bottle. In the middle of a broken plaza, illuminated in a...
Ah, Martinez at night. Let me see. Right here. Oh, yes.
All of them worse than here. There are many of them, and they are divided. The first row has 18 dots. The next is the longest. It runs... There are so many, it's hard to count. The last row has 3. That's it.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM.
Son, here is where we score your life performance.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? That's what it says. I might have guessed even longer based on your age. What did you do all those blissful years of your youth? Fair point. This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Wow, more than 200! It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Call it what you want. Right. Those are your confirmed kills.
Confirmed kills? That sounds pretty evil. A drink would soften that feeling.
For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do, but it seems as though you are, or at least were, one.
He's sincerely glad you're not a scary predator. Not to say relieved you're The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes.
victim of Kuno. Yeah, Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. Listen. Kuno doesn't care. Kuno could hook you up with some sweet rags. Shit like Kuno.
You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters F-A-L-N running down his trouser leg.
Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around. Except for that you took away.
The lieutenant remains.
Pig, these are found modulars. Liquid fit, performance crotch. Believe it, you need this shit.
These could drastically improve. Coach Physical Instrument endorses these pants. They are tartan ready.
Whatever. Kuno was trying to help you, but the fuck? A mug in the trash. Is this about the fucking clothes again? Yeah, Kuno sees where this is going. Kuno's got that fast brain. You saying you...
I can't hear you, Kuno. Speak louder.
Shit, that's tense. Someone's going to the beatdown.
The kid may have something there.
Kuno doesn't know who put that shit in there. And if he did, he...
Stop turning into a pig, Kuno. They're trying to get you hooked on the snitching.
Yeah, get your bacon shit away. Kuno doesn't like to be seen with the No, it's not fucking Kuno's. It's a...
He thinks you're fucking fool, Kuno. He says you climbed the ladder up to your magic tree house.
Get the fuck out of here, pig. Kuno doesn't have a magic tree. Dunno. Kipta's gardener used to work there. Yeah, that's what Kuno said. She couldn't handle the heat, so she took up. Look, Kuno doesn't explain shit. Kuno... Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit.
What's going on?
Trying to fuck it to Kuno.
Kuno gonna
Normal is not what we got.
Kuno doesn't fucking...
Yes?
I can't believe it felt like springtime just a few days ago.
I am a gander and a hunter and a gatherer. You sure are, my man.
Yes.
It's the jam, my man.
The air from the east.
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo. Yeah, exactly. Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me. Yeah, a mess. So tell me, what do you need? It's like, whatever's going on over at the docks.
Going on strike would probably help you dodge a bullet or two.
Maybe you should. Cops don't get paid.
The RCM is a self-managing organization that operates on donations. We promote our own leaders. It would be like striking against your own mother. Okay, but do continue. You were asking about the strike?
Maybe you should.
The RCM is a self-managing... I don't think you understand how that joke goes, but do...
Maybe you should.
The RCM is a self-managing Okay, but do continue. You were asking about the strike?
Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. I've heard talk there's a company.
Ah, yes, from the Wild Pines. We'll meet.
They want to keep that money flowing in, my man. Anything else? Yeah, us lorry drivers. Camionneurs. Not my thing. Chasing transient...
What's better than chasing transient pleasures? The more transient, the better. He tries his best to look nonchalant, but there's a rigidity in him, as if trying to conceal something warm and deep beneath.
Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like... Ha! No, I'm joking. They usually get shipped to Grad in the Occident. Though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately. This rockin' beauty. Sure is, like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery? Neat. For carrying large quantities of cargo a long distance. These found tracksuits need to...
The man taps his fingers rhythmically. Again, ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
You really are the law, aren't you? I get that being black.
Just like that, he slips out of your reach.
Don't be a stranger.
Looking for something odd? Oh man, that's great. Look at that guy go. Haven't seen anything that funny in a while. God damn. Thanks for that, but...
He does not so much as glance at the... Stop showing me up. Does he strike you as the kind of man who puts mugs into trash? Go ahead. Don't be shy. Just ask for race secrets. That's understandable. Jean-Luc Measurehead is a sage and an intellectual...
Bastards! We have a right to work!
Yes, people get that you are the law. You really don't have to keep saying it.
Hold up and stay frosty, everyone.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down? Ha! Couldn't handle us. Cause gives the workers strength. Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Maybe you should ask them the question. We have families to feed you.
So do we, Scott.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the main gates locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer, or whatever he is. Yeah? That giant up there, on the bridge you talked to. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically... I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke, and my men... Why don't you go arrest them instead?
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Honest men and women, with rights to work. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis.
I have a question. Why do all these men...
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were given a job to do!
It's just a racist, but... The face of King Freecell smiled. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal a la fume. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, but like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going a la fume. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fume is committed to telling the radical truth. Even perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine, the table of contents. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratic. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. Two competitors. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12%. That's very much the idea. President Kaczynski has long maintained that a strong body is the best defense against
the Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front on account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine, the table of content. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships. And then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor. Oddly enough, this article has two bylines: Nasdeb Encolada Bernal and Excellus Buca. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a Fritta. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really what? Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, this flimsy magazine is right. Deep down, you know the only true stakes are life. That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of young man reads 1 or 2 books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. One of the editorials proclaims that the more the forces of reaction attempt to crush, sounds like their bodies just haven't been crushed enough yet. You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprisingly, you skim the headlines. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin. According to these editorials, there can be no... You flip back to the front of... Hobocop. Technically, you wouldn't be a cop anymore, but a hobo. That would mean game over for the cop chapter of your adventures. But who knows where the hobo part takes you? To the bar? The old L'Assommoir? To the pier or the sewers? To Le Royaume, where for 300 years they interred the dead. You could plunder... Hear that? Magnesium. The magnesium levels in your blood are dangerously low. It's about the low magnesium levels and not... Yes, and it's critical. Look at yourself. You need to get so magged up. You've probably had 2 heart... 1 stroke? Don't be so modest. He's having one right. Yes, if you want to live, you need to evolve. Just remember, it's not the alcohol. Buy more of that too. Alcohol is not, and it's certainly not nor smoking for 40 years. It's the lack of magnesium.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of...
Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me? Game? Everything is just a game to you, isn't it? Not until you bring me... Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here. Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what... What about what I have been through, huh? You're not the goddamn protagonist of this story. Not until you bring...
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can...
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here. Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we...
I understand your predicament. I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just... Not until you bring me...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant. Yes, have you got... Does that arrangement include you paying me... As a police officer, you must understand that evidence being money. Not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio mic.
I have something here we could sell.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks.
No, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights.
The cage at the back of the
I confiscated this for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity. A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I took them and arrested him for driving under that they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them exactly. As I said, they are useless anyway. I should have remembered that.
The lieutenant nods. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57.
10-4, come in. Fireworker, over. 10-4, I hear you.
What does he want?
He's asking for...
Is he
I don't think...
Don't give that asshole...
Right, that's a negative on... He says he's...
Well, I guess...
Vicmar said... He says it's...
He isn't getting arrested.
Request denied.
Nothing is working.
Anything else, sir? Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? It will take just a...
Her voice is...
Gottlieb, what you get yourself into this time? I didn't, but now I do. How's the drinking going? Great. Have a medal.
Fucking, I'm not dead. It just hurts, okay?
Look, pal, getting pumped and dumped is not a disease. People live through it all the time. You should be happy for her. That's what the guys say, officer. That some chick pumped you and then dumped you.
Don't take it personally. They're just...
You must have me confused for a close personal friend. I am not. I am a medical professional.
You hear someone whine in the background. My eye...
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Right.
10-4, come in.
Wait. Before you say anything, be smart.
10-4, sir, I'm not hearing your question. That's a negative, sir. I got a 10-12 here. Over.
What?
He wants to...
What of course? Tell him to stop.
What do you need, sir? Over. Understood, sir. Roger that. 10...
Greetings on this fine night. What bring the pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them. I've had to take it. You know, since the people's power.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever had. So much disappointment and early deaths. No one's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think? We were an all-volunteer force.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines. Tough son of a gun, this.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperanto. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. The cleanup happened 15 years ago. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I like the theory more than the story.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud?
No one was defrauded or jumped.
Of course. I meant.
Thank you. Here's the 60 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Oh, no. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. Another time, perhaps. You said you'd done it.
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like...
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon.
Of course.
Yes? What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite a brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary.
Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get...
A tremble comes over you. Another after effect of ethanol poisoning, perhaps. Feels like leaves do when they rustle in the breeze, somewhere far away, below the turbine. The 41st and the 57th. The lieutenant was right. It's not about who gets what's north. It's about who doesn't. He opens one hand.
Which school do you subscribe to? Mambo or Jumbo? Hangovers do give officers superpowers. Many drink only to risk. It is good to have a para-detective in a labor dispute. I can see why they sent you. Yes, I am an unrepentant spoilsport. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Because you're the best qualified? No, that doesn't. If you're so well qualified, why can't you remember why you were sent?
Can I help you? Yes, have you got... Well? Great, thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock. Please pay for each night in advance, starting tomorrow. 20 real per...
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests.
Yes? Yes?
This is the door to the room. You...
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment.
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courant and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government, and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Silence. A great comment to such a conundrum. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. There are a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats. A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me.
For you, she is something painful, though it's hard to say why.
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on fact. Do you? No. We are stooges of the world's biggest bourgeois organization, protecting the people of Revachol. That's the hand we were dealt. Without the MI, we would be common vigilantes. Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite...
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses. The red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on it.
We performed the cursory, then you shot the body down, which was quite the shot. On this occasion, I must agree. At any rate, your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. I still feel like we missed something, but maybe the... Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. Including Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however. Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. You can look into the press. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines. Above all, though, today was exhausting.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green.
Thank you for the compliment. We could manage it even in wooden clogs. There are uncanny running reservoirs. The dying lights of the...
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company. Not daring to come here more. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works. Our systems work. If they didn't, the city would Me too. But
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes...
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Hey. Psst. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket. Literally, oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up? Failure. It's about, of course you do. You are failure. You alone. Against every living. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Now get to work, comrade. Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Let not failure ensnare you any further, beautiful pixie girl. Did someone mention cocaine? Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one. Okay then. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. Your hands, however skillful, can't manage this task on their own. You should get your change. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you handle the chain cutters deftly. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. Still not happening. It won't come off that. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind. The shards face a fine web of scarring, more likely a projectile than a held object. There are no... It is too large for the shoe you found. Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. And maybe, just the fan is spinning. The blades come squeaking to a halt. The lights are on. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and find, and then sleep doesn't come. And then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still something to do with. What was it that the lieutenant said? Something to do with. What was it that your breathing steadies? A great silence washes over you until your eyelids.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? That's right, funky baby. And you just tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. They were only cramping your descent into the abyss. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4 points. No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around. You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Yes, wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You don't know? You don't know? Some broad that messed you up. It'll come to you. It always... You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hand. It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Suit yourself. Slow. Magnesium-based life form. We tell them, hell no. You're about to become a magnesium-based life form. The age of the primitive carbon man is done. No longer must mankind rely on slow-working background radiation to take us further into our genetic destiny. This is...